That's good.
Henry?
Alright, go for it.
Alright. Working at a daycare is not babysitting. There is a lot more that goes into caring for a child than just making sure they don't get hurt or that they don't die. Children are always learning, and it's our responsibility as teachers to make sure that they develop all of their cognitive, social, and physical skills. Now at our center, we do this through circle time, learning centers, and art time. Now, according to Head Start, which is a widely used preschool program, circle time helps set the tone for the rest of the child's day. So when you're starting circle time, you want that to be one of the first things the kids do when they arrive at your center, and maybe right after nap time. So it breaks the day up into 2 sections, and it creates that rhythm and consistency that children need. It's also a great time to start working on their cognitive skills. A wonderful way to start circle time is with a song. Then you can move through talking about the day. Depending on the ages of the children, you might just talk about the weather with toddlers, and as they get older, 4 or 5-year-olds, you can start working on the date, weeks, months, things like that. It's also a great time to start incorporating colors, shapes, letters, numbers, all of those, of course, age appropriate so that the children understand what is going on. Stories are also a great way to connect with the children, make circle time much more interactive. Instead of just reading a book to them, make the book interactive. Start asking them questions, what do you think is going to happen next? Why do you think, Bobby did this? So it's a great way to start working those cognitive skills with the children. And while this is a good cognitive area, learning centers are what help them socially. So learning centers are just as much of an experience for you as a teacher as they are for the children. Now, Kaplan is where we get most of our toys for our centers, and they have a great list of how to organize each of the centers you have in your classroom. Some of the examples are Block Center, Art Center, Math, Manipulatives, Dramatic Play, Cozy Corner. You can have about 20 different centers in your classroom, but you really want to limit it to not overstimulate the children. This is also a small group time. You don't want more than 4 or 5 kids in each group. And when you go into the centers, play with the kids. Ask them questions. If you go into the Block Center, what are you building? Why are you building it? If there's a problem, have them work together to solve it so that you are there helping them build these social skills that they're going to need in school and in life. Now, while you do have an art center in your classroom, it's very important to have art time with the children. Art time is a lot about freedom of expression, but it's also going to be working their fine motor skills. Education.com has a great list of how these fine motor skills are going to be developing in the children, whether they're holding paintbrushes, maybe they're working with crayons, markers, scissors is another really big one. This also familiarizes them with those tools they're going to need before they go into school. So if a toddler is holding a crayon, they may not be making things that make sense to you, but they're practicing the movement, they're practicing how to hold it. What they do makes those shapes on the paper. And so as they get older, 4 years, 5 years old, they're going to have that muscle memory and be able to create the letters that they need to go into school. Now, a lot of this might seem overwhelming at first, but if you harness the children's ability to learn, their natural desire to learn, and if you're just as excited as they are moving through all these things, you're going to be teaching them those social skills, those physical skills, and all the cognitive skills that they need, and you'll become a very effective teacher. Questions? Yes?
So you said only 4 to 5 in a circle. Why couldn't it be any lesser anymore?
In the small group?
Yeah.
It's because if there's too many kids in there, they're going to not have enough toys to play with, they're going to start fighting, they're going to fight for space. They're designed to be small so that they can work through those things in their mind, those social skills, without feeling overwhelmed.
If there's 2 people too small or 2 3
Nope.
doesn't give them enough.
You can go 1 to 4 or 5.
Okay,
It's
can't
just,
go over.
yeah, can't go over because then just too much going on at once. Yes?
At what age do you start, accepting kids for these learning centers?
It actually goes from 6 weeks to 12 years old. Of course, the infant classroom runs a little bit differently than toddlers and up, but you're still working with those things with the infants. too.
So it's a daycare / learning center?
Yeah,
or
so-
is it an actual school?
So where I work, it's kind of a mix of both. It's a daycare where they provide preschool time. So most preschools are only like 3 to 4 hours a day, kind of in the morning and the afternoon, whereas this center goes 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and there's things going on all day long. it's kind of a mix where I work.
So it's not just a daycare where kids kind of do whatever they want.
Right,
There's like a
yeah.
program.
There's a
in place,
structure,
there's
like curriculums, yeah,
Okay,
lesson
what-
plans, all that stuff.
What's the price for a place like this? Cause I feel like a daycare would be cheaper because it's just daycare.
Right.
But something like this, if you were to send your child to a place like this, knowing that your child is going to be learning those essential skills, does that make the price?
The price definitely goes up, so a good way to imagine it is plain daycare, someone watches your child play all day, versus a preschool where they're sitting in desks and they're, constantly working, versus the middle ground where they have playtime and learning time with us. My center, I know the price for the class that I teach, which is the 5-year-old, is gonna be like, $600-700 a month
A month per child.
per child.
A month, right?
The younger they are, the more expensive it is, the older they get, the cheaper it is. Because there's ratios,
Okay.
so.
Yeah, that makes sense then. 'Cause
Yeah.
You have to, I worked at daycare for a little while and you must have tons of patience first of all. And my mom's also a preschool teacher, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, I know what you mean, cause like when it's a 6-week-old baby, you're
Right.
going to need someone constantly taking care
Right.
of watching. It's like almost like 2-on-1, 1-on-1 type stuff. Yeah.
As they get older, they're more self-sufficient, they can go to the bathroom and
Right.
things, yeah.
And then would you be giving this training to like new?
New hires,
Yeah.
explaining what we do at our center and why we do it. Any other questions?
Yeah, yes.
So do you feel like it's worth it then for someone to go spend $700 a month? Do you see the big difference if you were to go into someone that's just in daycare versus it? Doesn't it?
Yes, because at our center, they really stress play through learning. So those learning centers, they incorporate a lot more of the time. So when you're in there with them, like especially in art center or math center, you are working on those things with the children, like their handwriting or, making like geometric shapes with them. So instead of like me being up here presenting to a bunch of 5-year-olds, it's that one-on-one time. And they still pick it up, they still learn it, just like if I was to say, all right, this is a triangle, draw a triangle on your page.
Right.
It's more interactive, yeah, more comfortable too.